to make this ESA that you just saw, I had to do a lot of things, and I'm going to go over them with you right now. What I did was I first got this idea for a distracted driving ESA of what it looks like from both a student's and a driver's point of view to actually get distracted and not see what's coming. In order to get all of this right, I just asked Sean Kelly, who was a very good actor actually, to help me with it. So he was immediately on the idea, and the day of shooting, what we did was we showed up at Cherokee first, then we set up our equipment and then started shooting. Well, the scenes in there are actually shot in order in which they show. We actually shot the first scene with the video camera and tripod that I signed out from the TV studio, but apparently the white balance was like too white on it, as you see in the first scene. And we decided not to continue with that because the exposure would be like too bright. So we started using both my phone and my dad's phone because they have great picture quality for shooting video. So we started using them both. Once we got done filming all of the walking stuff by the main door of the school, that's when all the important stuff really happens. We moved all the equipment to the parking lot that you see in that video, which happens to be one of the student parking lots, right in between the two school buildings, to film the scenes of the distracted driver getting distracted, the student walking to get his car, and the scene of impact, and also the scene of the student after impact. Once we got to the parking lot, we started shooting scenes of me walking and texting, scenes that were either in the film or not in the film. Right after we filmed a few walking scenes, we then did the scene of the impact, which is real built in stages. Ever want to know how the moment of impact is staged and, done? Here are the secrets. First of all, before the whole thing begins, we set the tripod that I borrowed from the school up and place one of our phones on there in order to film the scene directly as it happens. Another thing is that Sean never really drives the car in this whole ESA. Believe it or not, it's actually my father that drives the car on the moment of impact. In the scenes you just saw, Sean is just pretending to drive it, and I was moving the camera to make it look as if the car was really going. Believe it or not, it's actually parked in a parking spot the whole time. Another fact is that the moment of impact, both the car blazing through and the student walking were all one take and happened to be the same take. And it's not taken as like a stunt kind of thing. Let's look at the raw footage right now. You see? Everything was one take. The student walking and the Jeep blazing through. I was originally going to do 2 takes on that, but apparently I was afraid that, the camera operator would move the camera, which is you really have to watch out for that if you want to do 2 things, in the same, kind of take kind of thing. Arranged a plan where I would actually, walk and, text for the first part of the scene. Then after I texted it for a few seconds, I would then run off, with the direct path of where the Jeep was going, point a thumbs up to my father, who then, blazed the Jeep through the path, making it look as if I was going to get impacted by the car. After that, we had to shoot the scene of me pretending to have gotten run over by the Jeep. And as you can see, my hand is, kind of facing me in that scene, making it look as if my hand was all squished against my body, and the phone just fell out and landed close to me. We actually had to do that in 2 takes because my screen went to sleep on the first take, so I had to turn it back on, and we just snapped that shot again. I had to have Sean actually send me those 2 text messages before we shot the scene. So after we were done shooting that, we made sure we had all the scenes we needed, and then we headed home. Then I brought the camera and the footage in and edited it in Final Cut Pro inside the TV studio. And the scene of impact I actually edited prior to that. What I did was I just split that one scene into 2. And the one scene I had was the one of the student walking and the other of the Jeep blazing through. And I actually put those scenes one on top of another. I believe it was the walking scene on top of the blazing scene. I made the car scene actually start a few seconds before the car actually blazed through the path. Then I used a certain split tool in Final Cut Pro that actually can split the screens. When you pretty much have sunlight out, and the scene, both scenes are kind of filmed in like a short amount of time, like maybe about a minute or like 30 seconds. When you have the scene split, you cannot really tell that it's 2 different scenes put into one. I'm kind of good in doing that kind of stuff in Final Cut Pro. And when we were filming this, there was traffic going by, and I'm sure people were looking at how we were filming this. I can tell you now that they are always in on what we're doing. It seems like it's real, but it isn't. After I was done the scene of impact, I went into school and I used the computer that I work with in the studio to put the whole ESA together, made the graphics there, and also found the music and put that stuff in, and then shared it. And it was a very good success.